Good morning. Welcome back to our 40 days of prayer. Today is day 19, and I'm glad you're with us. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you're having a great day. Our text this morning is a text that I love. It's a text that I begin every Bible study with. When I first begin to study the Bible with somebody, this is where we begin. It's Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. And I'm going to read verses 11 through 14. But God says this, He says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you'll call on me and come and pray to me, and I'll listen to you. You will seek me and you'll find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I'll bring you back from captivity. I'll gather you from all the nations and places where I have banished you, declares the Lord, and will bring you back to the place from which I carried you into exile." Jeremiah 29, 11 through 14 follows really the pattern of Scripture all the way through. It is a passage of premise and promise. All throughout the Bible, when God makes a promise, there is a premise attached. And the premise is just like you have with your kids or anything else. If you clean your room, then we'll go for ice cream. And that's how God works too. He makes all these promises, but they're based on us fulfilling the premise that He lays out. And here He makes a number of promises, but the big one He says is, "I will be found by you." That's the promise. The premise is, if you'll seek me with all your heart. Today as you pray, I want to encourage you to pray, "God, help me be a with all my heart seeker of you." And I want you to think about, what does that look like for me? What does it look like for me to seek God with all my heart? Because the promise is, if you will do that, God says you'll find me. Now, a couple of things I want you to notice. First, in verse 10, God says in advance, it's going to take 70 years for this promise to be fulfilled. And so I want us to make sure we understand that God fulfills His promises on His timeline and in the way He sees fit. And so we may not get the fulfillment of that promise immediately, and it may not look exactly how we think it's going to look, but God is going to do exactly what He says He's going to do. And then secondly, I want to remind you that God is longing to fulfill this promise in your life. In Acts chapter 17, Paul tells a group of Greek men, he says, God has put us at this time and this place for a reason. And he says the reason is so that we might seek Him and find Him. And then he says, and God is not very far off. So I want you to know this morning, God is not very far off. And He's waiting for you to seek Him with all of your heart. And He says, when you do that, I will be found by you, declares the Lord. Have a great day.